That's just sports, baby.
Crowd goes wild, strawberry ice bringing fire and style. Reds, Bengals, Bearcats, all in my zone. This is my stage, my mic, my throne. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy Fine is kicking down the door. Step into the ring where the passion ignites. Talking sports all day and all night. From the field to the court to the roaring stands. Strawberry ice with the world in my hands. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy Fine is kicking down the door.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman Jeff Trunapole, and as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. And you know it, I'm always coming to you live from that ice cave.
All right, shout out to my sponsors. They are Priority Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need your grass cut, you need shrubbery trimmed, I don't know, you need a paper patio, you need anything. I mean anything. Landscaping required. Think Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Also, shout out to T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And of course, Meyer Window, Door, and more. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great looking windows, easy to clean. Meyer Window, Door, and more. The website is MeyerCincinnati.com. And also, shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. Get on down there, get you some delicious Moorline beer, some delicious Moorline food. And tell them I sent you. Moorline Lager House.
That's right. I highly recommend you guys all check out my sponsors there, especially this time of year, Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Because like the snow we had today, if you didn't want to go out and clean off your driveways, or if you have properties that you need snow removal, because we've had a ton, and I mean a ton of snow, I highly recommend Priority Lawn and Landscaping. What is up to everybody in the chat? We've got, let's see, who's showing up for first. Strangers in there first. Brad's in there. Crypt Keeper, the Battle of Ohio's in there. Mike Madden's in there. And Ronnie. You ain't late. You're right on time, Ronnie. You're right on time. Yeah, Mike, you need snow removal. Go check out Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Give them a call there. Look them up on Facebook. They're on there. And yeah, you can find them there. Anyway, let's see here. Battle of Ohio. This one's, Battle Ohio. We need to get Jim hired, which he meant right here. This is what I meant to click on. We need to hire Jim Schwartz immediately. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I don't think it's going to happen because they got Al Golden, and I don't think they're changing any of their coaching staff. So I'm not against it, but I don't really see it happening as of right now. What else we got there? Ronnie, what's going on? I'm good. Tony Blaze is in there. And yes, please hit the likes on the show. I appreciate it. All right. This is a fun football Super Bowl edition Friday. And we haven't had a lot of anything from Joe Burrow other than him just killing it at the Pro Bowl games. And they did have a reporter. I think he might have been from England. He had an accent, but was interviewing Joe about if he's happy in Cincinnati, and Joe said yes. And Jamar and T have talked about it. You know, people have bad days. Like when you're losing, you're not happy. So Joe is happy in Cincinnati. Like I said, now if they don't fix this defense, I don't think any of them are going to be happy. Now, Jamar and T have said the right things. I mean, they did mention, which again, I wrote an article about that. So shout out to your boy going to go get Max Crosby. And they also mentioned Jeffrey Simmons. Now, I've said this on the show this week. Well, I don't even know if I've actually addressed what I would give up for those guys. I would be willing to give up this year's first-round pick and next year's first-round pick for, you know, a first-round pick for Max Crosby and a first-round pick for Jeffrey Simmons. That's what I would be willing to do. because that would give you an interior defensive line with pressure. That give you the edge. And for some crazy reason, if the Bengals actually be able to sign Trey Hendrickson, how awesome would it be if you had Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby? But like I said before here on the show, I think that bridge has been burned with Trey, but you never know. I mean, you never know. We'll see. Now, you say, well, if you give me a first-round pick, then you have no shot of getting Caleb Downs. I get that. You're going to have to give up something to get somebody like Max Crosby or Jeffrey Simmons. And when Dale joins us here, he will definitely be able to tell you a lot more about the safeties in this 2026 NFL draft. That there's a lot of them. And there's some veteran safeties out there that we can't sign. So just because – Bengals fans need to get off this. We got to get this guy. We have to improve the defense in general. Like McCoy, I think his name is the DB out of Tennessee. I'm okay if they get him. That improves the defense. I would rather draft Caleb Downs. I mean, my dream scenario for the draft is drafting Caleb, if they keep the picks, that is, drafting Caleb Downs, and then Peter Woods falls to second, which I'm not just saying this. These people are actually mocking this. Peter Woods is falling because of his motor and stuff like that. They don't know if he's motivated as much, which aren't great things to have in a player you draft, but his ceiling is huge, and I'm willing to take a chance on a guy with a big ceiling in the second round, not the first round. I want a dominant person in the first round, and that's Caleb Downs. But getting back to if you give that up for Max Crosby, and I've had some fans go, like, well, why would the Raiders do that? Why wouldn't they? They're rebuilding. They have the number one pick overall. They're going to draft a quarterback. They need offensive linemen. Max is 28, 29 years old. By the time I think they really get good, which is in 2 years, he's 30, 31. That doesn't bode well for Max being in his prime when the Raiders are good. The Bengals are ready to win now. With that being said, we have our first guest in the waiting room. I have to do this because I crack him up every time I do this. He is a visionary. He is from Cincy Jungle. He is the one and the only, the Godfather Anthony Cosenza. What's up, visionary? Can you hear me?
I'm the visionary.
Oh yes, you are definitely the visionary. You're definitely the visionary.
Oh, I thought Dale. Okay, maybe I forgot. Was Dale Turbo? I'm the visionary. I can't remember.
Yeah, you're the vision. Dale's Turbo. So somehow Dale became Turbo. I don't know how that happened.
Because I think I said on our text thread, I said Easy Turbo. And then,
I think that's
he
what it was.
He was getting all excited or being inappropriate or some damn thing.
Dale is never like that. What are you talking about? Dale is always professional. Never says anything ever inappropriate on the stream or in real life. I mean, he's salt of the earth. I love him.
He is salt of the earth. Yeah, that you can't say about him. He is a salt of the earth kind of guy.
Awesome. Yeah. Dale is trying to go get more clothes on because he's freezing his ass off in his garage.
I don't even want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I know. As you can see, the bright sunlight
easy turbo. You know what I mean? Like he sends us out.
Yeah, the bright sunlight coming in from the garage there. I see that. Yeah.
Well, I gotta, my light situation that is notorious at this point. So we just finished our show, and of course they clicked off. So I'm giving them a little break, and then they'll come back on. So we're still getting the natural light coming through a little bit. So
that's the California light. You guys can only use your electric for so long, and it turns off, right?
True.
Ronnie
for better
says,
for worse.
Yeah, Ronnie says 80 out there in Arizona. What's your temperature at?
Today is probably like low 70s. I know. Sorry.
Man, we had more snow here. We got another. I had to go clean my driveway up. We probably got another 3 inches today, this afternoon. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then they're saying we're going to get more snow. I think it's supposed to warm up this weekend, and we're going to get up, I think, into the 50s, and then it might rain, and then it's going to snow again next weekend. I'm like, oh my goodness.
But see, there's beach muscles ice, and then there's real man strength stuff, like shoveling a driveway, shoveling a sidewalk with snow, doing that. Are you the guy that chops his own firewood? Out. Oh no. Okay.
All right. Well, I cut it up with a chainsaw, and then
okay.
My shovel in my driveway. I got a snow Joe, so I just push it and it goes and just shoots the snow out. So I don't even shovel it anymore.
Okay.
All right. My son moved out, so that was my shoveler. My daughter helps me a little bit, but
Okay. All right. Okay.
It is what it is.
Chores.
Exactly. All right. It's Super Bowl week here. And I always crack what they still call it Radio Row, because half the guys that are on there, over half of them are podcasters. So they're not even on the radio. They should call it like Podcaster Row or Media Row or something. But Radio Row. And Jamar and T made the rounds this week. And I watched most of their clips. They've pretty much said the same thing. They want to get defense. They mentioned Max Crosby and Jeffrey Simmons, and I ran with it. I would love to get either one of those guys. Both of them would be awesome. And people come at me. I'm not giving up a first round. I would give up a first round for either one of those guys. I don't know about you, AC. I mean, am I crazy in thinking that, or what would you give up to possibly get one or both of those guys if we actually could?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think didn't we talk about Crosby a little bit last week?
We did. I wrote an article about it.
Yeah. And so I think this is kind of where the potentially a tag and trade of Trey makes sense. And obviously whether you kind of have those meetings, I shouldn't say this, I guess, but have those meetings in secret at the owners' meetings or at the combine where maybe over a couple of old fashions or something like that. Maybe they start to kind of do some verbal agreements or what have you on stuff, but maybe that's where Trey Hendrickson comes into play if they are going to make a move for one of these guys. Crosby didn't like how last year ended for him, and I guess he was on Colin Cowherd's show I think today, and he said, all this rumor stuff is kind of news to me, but I don't buy that. I mean, he has to know that this is swirling around him. Simmons up there in age, but he's still a dominant player, obviously. And I just thought it was funny that, T and Jamar talk about two guys who technically aren't available, right? I mean, it's not free agent guys.
I'm like, do they know something? I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I almost wondered if it was kind of like a Burrow-ish, slight nudge to management, like, hey, make a splash. These are some guys we're thinking about. So
yeah, maybe Max reach out to him and say, hey, get us to Cincinnati. Like, I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws here, but they said their names. I didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just thought that part was interesting. And obviously those are Pro Bowl guys, so they're used to being around them and that sort of thing. But they also obviously announced their own show that's coming out between the two of them. Yes. But I mean, obviously those are two splashy moves, but that takes something that, a huge trade, either player for player or picks for a player and picks for, star players. That's just not been traditionally in the Bengals wheelhouse. So that would take them kind of stepping out of their comfort zone for sure to do something like that.
Well, that goes back to Ronnie saying here, flip Trey, which this is kind of what I brought up last week and I said Tampa Bay, I just threw a team out there because I would like to get Trey to the NFC regardless, if we're not going to sign Trey, I want to tag him and trade him to the NFC so we don't have to face him. But if you can tag him and trade him to another team or to the Raiders, plus maybe a second or third round pick to get Max, or you trade him to another team in the NFC and they get a first round pick for him. I mean, that would be cool. That's kind of the move I think they'd have to make. And I've had people come at me and say, well, nobody's going to give us, they might give us a fourth round pick for Trey. Cool. I'll take a fourth round pick. Great. No, I mean, and the thing is, people don't understand. Trey Hendrickson on all boards is the number one free agent in all of football. I mean, they despite what he did last year, everybody lists him as the number one guy to go get. So whether you like it or not, Trey's going to get paid. I think somebody's going to pay him, and for us to dictate where he goes, which they still can right now if they tag him and trade him, is to tag him and trade him.
Yeah, and I think I'm trying to say this delicately, I guess, but the Bengals
don't be delicate. Just rip the Band-Aid off. What do you got?
No.
You're stupid.
think
that's never going to happen. I don't know.
no. The Bengals and the front office like to either be in or feel like they are in control. So them being able to dictate where Trey Hendrickson goes, I think is definitely a plus. And it may pour a little bit more salt in the wound on Trey's side, just be like, oh man, now I can't, control my own destiny, so to speak. But the Bengals.
I mean, honestly, I think the way tag and trades work normally is so you don't get stuck with the tag is you say, all right, we're going to tag and trade it, and then you got to negotiate with
the team you're going to is going to give you a long-term deal. That's what we have in place.
Yes.
Yeah. But he's not necessarily picking his destination, I guess. But regardless, that the Bengals at this point, and I know we all try and take a player type of mindset sometimes, but the Bengals have to do what's best for their team. And if what's best for their team is moving on from Trey finally, be it burn bridges or they feel he's too old or all of the above, and they can get either a different player than the two we're talking about or use him in some sort of package to get one of those guys, then they have to do that. But it's a move, like I said, that would be very, very uncharacteristic of the Bengals to make, but it would be something that would inject a lot of life into the locker room and a lot of life into the fan base for sure.
Exactly. All right. With that being said, we have our draft expert on here. And if you guys have not donated the $5 to Project Game Day to get Dale Altman's draft guide, you are missing out on a lot. So make sure you get his draft guide. But with that being said, let's get to the man who's hopefully not freezing his ass off in this garage. He's got more clothes on. He is the one and only Dale Altman.
Yeah. What's up? Not as bad as sometimes. Like I got this propane heater thing going now,
Mm-hmm.
Still cold as fuck down here.
I can't see because you don't have your camera on, so I can just imagine. I can only imagine.
He's smoking those Marlboro Reds.
Hey, he's ripping those Peters again.
No, dude, I'm a Marlboro Smooth guy, man. Come on.
Well, are you the new Sam Darnold grandpa? Did you hear that Darnold's grandpa was a Marlboro man?
Yes.
On the app?
Yes. Well, I just heard that.
Yeah.
Like on my show from Dustin.
Oh, really?
Yep. He was I think he's the original Marlboro man, wasn't he?
Well, he said his name was Dick something, and then I put that. I was like, "Don't look that up."
Dick Hammer, I think, wasn't it? Dick Hammer.
So I put in dickhammer.com, and it said no one owns it.
Hey Dale, that could be your
that's what I'm saying, man. I could have a whole Shopify called dickhammer.com. Go check
Dick
it out.
Hammer, the Marlboro man. That is just unbelievable.
Dick Hammer, otherwise known as Dale from Bengals and Brews.
There you go.
Well, not yet. Let's not false advertise.
Chop says Duck Hammer.
Duck Hammer. There you go.
All right, so me and AC were discussing that, and I'm sure you guys probably talked about it on your show, what T and Jamar said this week, and basically talking about how they want the Bengals to improve the defense, and two names they threw out there. They threw them out there. I didn't. Max Crosby and Jeffrey Simmons. I think it's highly unlikely we would be able to get those guys, but it is kind of interesting that they would actually specifically say them, but in two different interviews, might I add. So it wasn't something that they just threw out once. They said it at least twice. Do you think there's something to that, or are they just throwing names out there to say they want to improve the defense?
Well, Jeffrey Simmons was the best defensive tackle according to PFF and all of football. So
that's why we didn't get him.
Everybody want that guy. I don't know how much the Titans would be willing to even consider trade offers for him. But Max Crosby, that relationship is burned. I think that one's more likely, but it's also going to be a bidding war. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like everyone knows he's going to be available. Everyone's going to have a chance to give up. I think any conversations with the Bengals would start Max Crosby for pick 10, probably plus something. And
probably.
I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I mean? Like he had 10 sacks this season. He's still a very good player, but it's like, he has 28 going on 29. How much are you, do you think you can get a guy that you have under team control with a rookie contract? I'm talking like the Bengals now for a reason, because that's probably what's going through their head.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the window is now. So that's where I'm like, if you can get Max Crosby and you can add him to this defense, I say do it. Because, I mean, we already went 3 years without making the playoffs. I don't care how old he is. If that guy can get pressure on the quarterback, fine. Give up pick 10, give up a third round pick. I wouldn't give a first and a second, but I give him a first and a third or a first and a second next year, something like that. I would do that just to get him here. And the crazy thought, I didn't get to watch this yet, but I saw the headline that I think it was Locked On Bengals. You're Locked On, or it was James's. Said it was talking about, basically, I can't remember what the headline was, but is the bridge burned with Trey? I think we all think it is, but with this organization, you never know. The crazy things have happened. I mean, if you can somehow trade for Max and have Trey on this team, which is what we wanted last year, we'll win them all trade for Trey. That would be unbelievable right there.
I think if there's anything with Trey, it's you tag him and trade him. I know you guys were talking about that when I first came in, tag and trade. And maybe it's unlikely you piss off, but if you're like, hey, Max Crosby, the Raiders want Trey willing to go there. He want to go to Vegas. Doesn't seem like a Vegas guy, but maybe he'd enjoy it.
You might enjoy the money to pay him.
But you tag Trey, you trade him and pick 10 for Crosby.
I'd do it.
Is that something like because I think that would be what the Raiders would want. Hey, we get Trey, we get a proven pass rusher, and we're getting the 10th pick. Like they would probably feel good about that. We're getting back. We're basically at that point trading Trey for Max, but we're trading our 10th pick.
Yeah, but we're right in the same spot that we were in at the beginning of last year too when we do that. You got and you talked about it, and people were like, well, we're giving up on Caleb Downs. And my thought is, and you said this a million times, this is a very deep draft safety class. So you could get a good starting safety in the second round, and you could sign some in the free agency too.
Yeah, and this kind of reminds me a little bit from a handful of years ago, and I kind of did a little quick research. Didn't really think about this till now, but when the Raiders dealt Khalil Mack to the Bears, now Khalil Mack was a top pick and that sort of thing, but I think he was 28, 29 when they dealt him. It was a second round pick at the time, I think, that they got, and some other stuff. But he was, Mack at that point was doing a major holdout. Mac right now is going to be 35 in a couple of weeks. And then I think he was 29 by the time he was dealt to the Bears. And with the Bears, he was with there 4 years. And first year, 12.5 sacks, second year, 8.5 sacks, third year, 9 sacks. And then the last year, six sacks. I think he was kind of hurt more in that season. But I mean, I'm not a fan of trading away that 10th pick because that's just a chance at a blue chip deal, but a blue chip player. But if you can, get trade Trey and, another
a second rounder, like a second rounder and Trey for Crosby, like that seems.
Seems
I would feel better about that.
That's more palatable to me for sure.
Because then you could get Caleb Downs too and Max. I mean, that would be great.
I don't know that the Raiders would go for something like that, but this just kind of reminded. This is back in 2018 when Mac was dealt, but they got good value. I think the Raiders for a guy that was holding out, but it could be something a little similar to that. And if you get that kind of production from a Max Crosby towards, kind of the later part of his career, and Mac's still going, he's still playing, but if you can get 4 years from Crosby where you're getting, 30, 35 sacks out of those years, that's a pretty productive player. It's not what Trey Hendrickson has been putting up, but if you get a guy that's refreshed from a change of scenery and you get a guy out of there where you don't, and I love Trey, but if that drama's gone for another offseason, maybe that's a little bit of addition by subtraction. I hate to say it that way.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it too.
I was just going to say, what if you get a Max Crosby that's super motivated, thinking the Bengals can make a playoff run with Joe and T and Jamar, and the Raiders haven't been a team that's doing that. And even when we got Trey Hendrickson as a free agent, he wasn't the Trey Hendrickson that got the 17.5 sacks the last 2 years, So it's like, could Max Crosby be a 15 to 20 sack guy? Absolutely. We all know he's that talented in 20. If he puts in the work, because we know Trey does. Max, it's unknown. He's just now reaching that age, but it's like, I think he could. Like, if you could give up a second and tag Trey I think that's the deal. Like, that's the deal that could work.
Yeah,
Because that's still a fairly high second round pick from the Bengals.
Is it 40th? Is that where
41? I think
41. There you go. And Ronnie says that the second one won't work. He said Vegas won't do that. Why wouldn't they though? Because they need draft capital. They need players. You know, they're not going to get them all in free agency. They have to. They got the number one pick. They were the worst team in the NFL. They're going to have a brand new head coach. They're going to have a new coordinator or new quarterback. And like I said, when they actually get this all, I was kind of saying before either one he came on, when they actually probably get this team to a playoff run, if it all works, it's going to be at least a year or two away. Max would be 31, 32 years old. Who knows if he, what his production, that doesn't bode well for us, for him being with the Bengals at that point. But I'm not trading him for the 27, 28. I'm trading for him for next year because we got to try to win this freaking thing, because we've done this stuff where we're like, oh, we got to develop these guys. And we haven't done that. I'm like, it hasn't worked. It's like what worked was when we signed free agents. That's what worked. I mean, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And that's where I'm at. It's like, F those picks. We need to win. Like, we can't go 4 years in a row and not make the playoffs. And I'm not saying we get Max Crosby, it fixes everything. Absolutely not. You still got to get an interior defensive line. You still got to get a safety, probably a corner, a linebacker. There's still other things you have to fix. But if you get Max, at least you're to the point where you were last year at the beginning of the season when you had Trey. Because we thought we had Trey last year, and we thought he was going to make a difference, but he didn't end up playing most of the season. If you start out with Max, you're at least, starting from a point of strength, instead of somewhere from behind where you're trying to play something that you don't have. AC? Oh, he's frozen.
I don't know if I'm frozen again. Oh,
there you go.
God.
You're back.
Am I frozen again?
Yeah,
back. Am I back? Good God.
You're back.
Oh God. So just let's put on the orange colored glasses a little bit. I'm looking at the Raiders defense, and I think they were 13th against the run. But the next leading sack guys were 4.5, 4 sacks, that sort of thing. And I'm looking at, Jonah Lualu had 4 sacks. You've got Malcolm Kuntz, who had 4.5 sacks. Tyree Wilson had 4. My point is there's not a lot of huge threats that take pressure off of Crosby. I don't know what the Bengals necessarily have in their defensive line without a Trey Hendrickson. Some guys took steps last year, some of the young guys, but if you keep those guys, you maybe add in a Reuben, if you are able to get a Crosby, keep your number 10 pick. If you're able to get a Reuben Bain, a Peter Woods, that's another element to that defensive line. Now, what Dale is saying, a guy that's into the teens, Crosby getting sacks, that could be a little bit more feasible with other elements on that defensive line if the Bengals do things right. That's obviously looking high optimism. Number one, that the Bengals would even swing a big trade like this because they don't normally. But number two,
right,
if they shore up the defensive line and hit the pick at 10, that enables that. And that these young guys who have been taking steps towards the end of the last couple of years continue to do so. All of that kind of falls into place. Then you're kind of sitting pretty with Max Crosby there. But, a lot of ifs.
Yeah. And that's always with the Bengals and always with the offseason, a lot of ifs and hope and hopium. But I do think, especially Peter Woods, you mentioned him. You keep your pick 10, you get Peter Woods. Well, that's gonna free up a guy like Max Crosby if you traded for him for a second round pick and a tag and trade with Trey. That gets exciting for me because we all know Myles Garrett's a freak, but he set the sack record this season after they drafted Mason Graham. You could probably look at Mason Graham's sack production and say, it's so-so, it's whatever. He was hugely important for him setting that sack record from the interior presence that he had and not drifting all the attention to Myles Garrett. So if you could have a Peter Woods, you could have some interior presence. That would free up Max Crosby. And what we've seen from Miles Murphy was pretty good. Even Cedric Johnson, some of the pieces that you still have coming back. This is getting high on the hopium, But man, it would be fun. It would be an un-Bengals like move to go trade for Max Crosby. And that would excite me as a fan, just to be like, hey, let's try it. Let's try something different.
Right. Now, I got a question for go ahead, AC.
Sorry, I just Paul Williams in your Facebook says the Bengals won't pay what Crosby is worth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's true, but I want to go back to kind of what we talked about with T and Jamar mentioning these names. This is kind of a little bit of a public lobbying and kind of putting a little bit of the spotlight and the onus on management to be like, hey, splashy moves are what's going to, they could be risky and it could blow up in your face, but splashy moves for good players that are proven players are what's needed on this defense to take this team to the next level. Again, I'm kind of taking what their comments and, elevating them a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit of what Burrow did last year with, we want these guys back.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I said the exact same thing yesterday. I think Jamar and T are trying to similarly do what Joe did last year. For them, they're trying to say, hey, we want to. This ain't gonna be all on Joe. All right, we're gonna have our voices heard. We want to win. Our offense is cool. We need to fix the defense. Now, Dale, I got a question for you. This is one thing I've been wanting to ask you. Peter Woods on some mock drafts have him dropping to the second round.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's something you're very high on.
I was going to ask
him.
Dale about that.
Yeah, because somebody I can't remember. I don't know who it was. I did read it somewhere that they had, and this would be awesome. And I talked about this with Brian from NFL Countdown.
Brian Bosarge, deep fried draft.
Yeah, I talked about him on this Monday with that. Somebody put this out there that the Bengals could draft Caleb Downs at 10, and at 41 they could get Peter Woods. I said that would be a home run. That's kind of what I'm like. That would be.
I seen the same stuff last year with Walter Nolan going in the second. And I said all along that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Peter Woods is not getting past 14 to the Ravens if we pass on him at 10.
We definitely don't want them to get him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we had Jacob Infante on Pro Football Sports Network, ProFootballNetwork.com, but PFSN 365. He writes for them. He also Windy City Gridiron, which is we'll call him sister network here with Cincy Jungle. That me and AC are part of.
Hey,
he has him at 14. He has him at 14. And I trust his opinion quite a bit as well. And it's like we had the same discussion about, well, some people have him in this round and that round. I'm like, he's 7th on my board. Maybe he drops to 10 on my board. Either way, we're picking at 10. That's a guy I take in the top 10. He doesn't have the sack production. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. What he has is a high pressure rate. He's an elite run defender. He is still only 20 or 21 years old. Like, this is a player that every metric tells me from every other defensive tackle that has been good in the NFL, he is going to be that next guy that's going to be good in the NFL at defensive tackle.
So I got a question for you, Dale, because, there's kind of some wildly differing opinions. I don't know what side's the majority. I think the majority is he's a really good player, but there are some differing opinions. Like Ice just said that someone said, oh, he's there in the second round for the Bengals. Do you think he's a guy that no matter where he goes and no matter what kind of atmosphere, and what I mean is, is he going to be only successful if he goes to what's known as a quote unquote top tier organization, quality coaching, and then he'll thrive and succeed? Or do you see him regardless of where he goes, because of the motivation questions and all that stuff, regardless of where he goes, he's going to be successful?
That's a great question, because I do like this year where Clemson wasn't good is that way his production down, stuff like that. But I do think he'll be good wherever he goes. I know they had TJ Parker, Will Helt this year, but I wouldn't say like Clemson was loaded by any means, at linebacker and things like that. Like, God, their fans hate Wade Wood who's another prospect. I think he can be successful anywhere, but being if you have Max Crosby, that'd be great, right? But let's just say we're putting him in with Miles Murphy, we're putting him in with Shamar Stewart. I don't know. It makes me think a little bit, but I do believe in his traits, because I think at worst you're getting a high-level run defender and a disruptor as a pass rusher. Maybe he doesn't have 5 sacks next season, but how many times do we have defensive tackles that have 5 sacks?
It's more of getting the pressure.
Like our veterans, like anybody.
Just disrupting. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you say it's more of getting the pressure up the middle and creating that double team to get the guys on the edge more one-on-ones? That's more of what it is, what it's for, or what I think emphasis is.
I think the biggest question is, what is the Bengals and Al Golden's plan for Shamar Stewart? Is he going to continue to kick inside? Like, are they even looking at a Peter Woods?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, do they think Shamar is that guy?
So this is my thing with Shamar. I want them to see him inside more next year, but I don't want to sit there and say put more pounds on and just be exclusively on the inside. I want him to just get through his first, hopefully healthy NFL season and see what we have. That's kind of where and I'm not saying don't put him inside. Yes, put him inside and outside. Do what you were going to do with him this year, because we never really found out what we had with him. So, and we already tried this with Zach Carter, and I'm not saying anywhere close to Shamar Stewart as Zach Carter, where we had him put more weight on and put him on the inside, and that never worked. So that's where I'm like, I don't want to stunt Shamar's growth. So that's where I'm just like, just let him be and see what he is next year before we go, oh, we got to put him on the inside right away. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I believe in Peter Woods more because he's like 315 pounds.
Right. He's a big dude.
And he played on the edge last year because they didn't have a secondary outside edge defender. He played on the edge at 315 pounds and looked great. This season, he was back on the inside, and it was kind of like, he's still getting pressure. He's not getting the sacks. Mm-hmm. But I saw the way his hands and feet move for a guy at 315. And we're talking about a guy that's still 20, 21 years old.
Well, when you're saying this, what you see, we see the pressure, but he wasn't getting sacked. That sounds like Shamar Stewart last year. Unfortunately, I mean, that's what a lot of people said about him too.
I think it's so much more important for an interior guy to get pressure and not the sacks. Same thing back to Mason Graham with Cleveland, because it sets up the other guys. If you're on the outside, you need to finish those plays.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, we got months and months to talk about this for sure and see what the Bengals are going to do. And like I said, all around talk about Max Crosby and Jeffrey Simmons because Jamar T brought him up. But one thing I do want to talk about, I know AC touched us on this on his show. I think Dale, you probably touched it on your show too. But the Bengals getting snubbed for the Hall of Fame again. Ken Anderson and Willie Anderson. I thought Ken Anderson had an actual legit shot this year, especially when I heard Belichick wasn't in and Robert Kraft didn't get in. I'm like, well, shoot. I mean, they're probably going to put more than one guy in from the veterans. Nope, they put one guy in. They put freaking Roger Craig in, which I'm not saying he doesn't deserve. I'm not saying any of these guys don't deserve to be in there. And there's no limit to the number of people they can put in. They can put 20 guys in if they want to. They put 5 in. They put 4 in last year. Why can't we get one of our guys in the Hall of Fame when they both deserve it? I don't understand this. AC, you had a
well, I'll go first because then I'll jump out. AC will say it more eloquently than me. I'm just going to say, fuck the Hall of Fame. Fuck the Hall of Fame voters. They're fucking all can suck my fucking dick. Willie Anderson, best right tackle in his era and in NFL history prior to Lane Johnson in the NFL. Ken Anderson, MVP. All these things in this new age of football should have been in years and years ago. Fuck the Hall of Fame. Fuck the Hall of Fame voters.
Exactly what I said. Dale never says anything weird on the show or
salt of the earth. Salt of the earth. Salt of the earth. You said it before he came on.
I love Dale. Go ahead, AC. What do you got?
No, to me, once you think you have like the Pro Football Hall of Fame criteria figured out, they just get weird again. Yeah. And what I mean by that is like, okay, obviously there are guys in there, you know, especially when you look at, you know, Stabler and Bradshaw and Namath and those guys where they really look at playoff wins, Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl wins, championships. Roger Craig has 3 of them, you know, so you're like, okay, that's the paramount thing. But then they skip Kraft and Belichick for a number of rumored reasons.
Right.
And then you go, okay, well, maybe that's not the barometer. To me, it's like we still don't know in the NFL what truly is a catch sometimes, right? I mean, there's stuff where you're like, oh, he's in. Oh, no, he's out. He's bobbling. And it's like, well, there's no consistency. And, you know, aside from the quote unquote cheating arguments with Belichick and Kraft and the Patriots and that sort of thing, some of the voters came out and said, well, we want to give the senior guys, we want to give them their due and give them their shot. Well, you only let one of them in. Yeah. So, and now, you know, you're talking about what Dale said about Willie Anderson. You're talking about Ken Anderson. There are a number of other guys that, you know, Geno Atkins was eligible for the first time this year. He's got 7-8 Pro Bowls to his name, was the second best interior defensive lineman of his era, just behind Aaron Donald, right?
Well, he was Aaron Donald before Aaron Donald.
What's it going to take to get him in? What's it going to take to get Richmond Webb in, who's on the 1990s All-Decade team as an offensive tackle? What is it? And these are guys that have, you know, either strong Bengal ties. You know, Atkins was with the Bengals his entire career. Webb was barely with the Bengals, that sort of thing. But they're guys that have Bengals ties that are just getting snubbed left and right, and there's just zero consistency. There were, what's there been now? 3 kickers the last handful of years, and a kicker and a return man the last couple of years, and no offensive tackles that have made it in. And you look at Vinatieri and you go, okay, well, he's, you know, kicked big kicks in the Super Bowl, and he's got the Super Bowl rings, and he's part of that Patriots dynasty. Okay, you let Adam Vinatieri in, but you don't let Belichick and Kraft in. So there's just all of this. I don't understand the process. It needs a ton of fixing. There are guys very deserving, not just on the Bengals. You know, a guy like Eli Manning. If Super Bowls are so paramount and these dynasties, they're trying to let all these guys in from the 70s Steelers dynasties, the 70s Cowboy dynasties, the 90s 2000s Patriots dynasties. If that's so important, the guy who cut down the Patriots dynasties, Eli Manning, and has Super Bowl wins under his belt, he can't get in. So I'm just at a loss as to the, you know, what the exact criteria is. And unfortunately, some of this falls on the Bengals and their lack of success as a team, their lack of success in Super Bowls. They got to get more championships. That's just the reality of it. And they have to be a team that is more invested in, you know, stewardship of the NFL. They got to play a little bit of the politics game to get, I guess, what seems to be in better graces with the league, the voters, the commissioner, etc.
Well, or you could just say, fuck the Hall of Fame. Fuck the Hall of Fame voters.
That's
fuck
what I was saying
cunts.
Underneath. Yeah. That's what I was saying underneath.
I'm like your angry Obama translator from the Key and Pill skits. You know?
Well, AC, there is no criteria. There is no rules. There is no, you do this. There is none. It's whatever the hell they feel like doing.
Jamar would probably be Offensive Player of the Year,
right?
Last year, right?
Should have been. He won a Triple Crown, and then it's an Offensive Player of the Year. Anyway,
and then Jackson Smith and Jigba won it this year. He didn't get a single vote last year, and he had 7 more touchdowns.
I mean, what happens down the line if Chase and Burrow and company put up all these stats, but they don't win championships? Are they going to get stonewalled out of the Hall of Fame?
Probably.
So I don't know.
I mean, the thing, like what, and the dumb thing is for the Veterans Committee to lump a coach and an owner in with players makes no sense. They're not the same. They don't play the same position. They're not in the same category to me. You should have a category for the owners, a category for coaches, a category for the players. I mean, they should be their own categories. But again, there is no rules for this. There's just, hey, here's a group of guys, vote on them. And Eli,
go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And Eli Manning, and I'm like, I didn't think Eli Manning should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. I thought he should have got it this year. I mean, he, like you said, he beat the Patriots twice in their big dynasty run. They had one of the most epic plays in Super Bowl history with the helmet catch. I know he didn't make the catch, but he's the one that made the throw. If he doesn't get out of that sack, that play never happens. One of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl to win a Super Bowl How the hell is he not in there?
He Luke Skywalkered that shit multiple times.
Right.
Like he beat the evil empire multiple times. Like that, the Patriots were the evil empire.
Right. So I'm like, I don't understand how he's not in. And again, there's no number saying we can only let 5 in. Like I said, they only let 4 in, I think, last year. They let 5 in this year. Maybe I got the numbers wrong. Maybe it's 5 last year, 5 this year. You can add more people. I'm like,
I think the cap is 5, the way they have it.
Is there a cap?
I think
they had like 7 people in like 2 years ago.
I could be wrong. Like I am very stupid.
I didn't see it. I see my 2 years ago there was more. As far as I know, there's no cap. But Willie Anderson, I know he played on the 90s Bengals. He was the best right tackle of his era. It shouldn't. 100%. And the thing is, it's the Hall of Fame. It's for individual. Football is the most team-oriented sport. Hall of Fame is for individuals. What you did on the field. Willie Anderson was one of the best right tackle, probably the best right tackle of his era, despite
100%.
what his team did. Who gives a rip what his team did? What's his face for the Browns, who never went to a damn playoff game, is in there. Thomas, whatever the hell his name is. He's in there. He was their left tackle. He's in the Hall of Fame. He got in right off the bat, and they never even went to a playoff, and he's in there. So how the hell is Willie not in? I mean, I've said this so many times. Dan Fouts is in the play, and there's no shade against Dan Fouts. Dan Fouts deserves to be in there. Who beat him to go to the Super Bowl? Ken Anderson. Ken Anderson has won the passing title back-to-back years in the 70s and 80s. Only quarterback to do that in 2 different decades. Nobody's ever done that. Why the hell is MVP? Why the hell is he not in? Roger Craig? I mean, I'm sorry. I'll take Ken Anderson's number over Roger Craig. I mean, Roger Craig, yes, he was a really good running back. He beat us in the Super Bowl in 88, and he won 2 or 3 of them. Cool. It's not about individual stuff. It should be about your career. Yeah, you won a Super Bowl. They should almost take that out of it, to be honest.
Well, you guys mentioned Vinatieri, and it's like Willie not getting in over Vinatieri. And listen, no offense, Shane Graham, if you're watching, no offense, brother. I know kickers matter. The kickers don't fucking matter. Kickers don't matter that fucking much. Like, I know Vinatieri had some clutch kicks.
Vinatieri, yes, he made a kick to win a Super Bowl. Eli Manning made a throw to win a Super Bowl.
But Willie Anderson's playing every offensive snap, being the best right tackle in football for how many years? Like, what are we talking about? That is so much different than a kicker.
Yes,
kickers. Yeah. We're talking kickers.
Kickers.
So Dale was right and he was wrong. The Pro Football Hall of Fame allows a maximum of 9 new members to be elected annually, typically consisting of 5 modern era players, up to 3 senior players, and then 1 coach or contributor. So that's. So
they could have had 3. They take Vinatieri out, put Willie in, and you could have just added Ken Anderson.
Yep.
You didn't have to take it
without defining their whatever rules are. The other thing, you mentioned a couple of other, Roger Craig, and I don't like to do the disparage one guy but I'm going to say this. If you actually look at James Brooks's accolades and career statistics against Roger Craig's, it is very similar. Very similar. I think Roger Craig bests him in rushing yards. James Brooks doubled him up almost in receiving touchdowns. And I think it's 79 rushing, receiving, returning touchdowns for James Brooks to about 71, 72 for Roger Craig in their career. Both made 4 Pro Bowls. So, that I'm not advocating necessarily James Brooks for the Hall of Fame, but when you look statistically, you can't really deny that. When you look at a guy like Drew Pearson, who made the Hall of Fame for the Cowboys, stack him up against Isaac Curtis. Very similar. If you want to let in a guy like Devin Hester, who was Devin Hester before Devin Hester? That's Lamar Parrish. So, the list goes on and on. You can talk about Max Montoya. There are a lot of other guys. And now we're talking Geno Atkins. Chad Johnson was one of the best in his position during his time with the Bengals, and he's going to get lost in the shuffle with the Reggie Waynes and all these other guys. And some people think rightfully so. I don't. But, I say that not necessarily to say, this guy stinks or whatever, but when you statistically look at those guys and guys who are in the Hall of Fame, there are close to mirror image guys on the Bengals who have those stats. They don't have the Super Bowl rings. They weren't part of these dynasties, but statistically speaking, it's right there.
And that's where I go to. They put so much emphasis on winning championships. If the 49ers didn't have Roger Craig, they probably still would have won those championships. And again, I'm not trying to throw shade at Roger Craig, but the point is, it's the Hall of Fame. It should be about your individual accomplishment on what you did, your stats, what you did. The one and only time it should be about you and not the team is the Hall of Fame. It shouldn't matter how many Super Bowls you win. Yeah, I'm a Bengals fan because, look, if the Bengals had won the Super Bowl in 81 and 88, like I said, James Brooks would probably be getting in. Ken Anderson would have already been in. Hell, Isaac Curtis might get in. I mean, there's so many guys that would have got in. If you just win that one game, and you're putting their whole career, 8, 9, 10 years of a whole career to one game. One game. You didn't win this one game. It's a big game, but that's the reason we don't put you in. That makes no sense.
I want to say one more thing about just the Roger Craig, James Brooks thing, which I think is funny. A lot of people that publicly vouched for Roger Craig was, well, he revolutionized the game. He was the guy that, was the multi-dimensional, running back, that sort of thing. And that's true. And he was the first of his kind. Roger Craig was drafted in 1983. James Brooks was drafted in 1981.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about utilizing that system where a versatile running back can do all kinds of things, where did Bill Walsh get his career started?
Right here.
Cincinnati.
I mean, I'm just trying to connect some dots here. I don't know.
You're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong in any of that. James Brooks literally revolutionized the running back. And we'll go to Geno Atkins. There is no Aaron Donald if there's not Geno Atkins. Geno Atkins was Aaron Donald before him, and he revolutionized that position. Is he going to get any credit for it? No. It's all Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald is a great player. But this is what this makes us do, because you're like, all right, but he came before him, and he was just as good as Aaron Donald. So
if John Randall is in and Aaron Donald is in, the guy in the middle, Geno Atkins, between both those careers, Geno Atkins should be in.
Right. It's just mind-numbingly frustrating and everybody watching this that's not Bengals fans, like, oh, you guys are just upset Bengals fans. Yeah, but what we're saying is true. I mean, we're not making this stuff up. Look at the stats.
Well, and it doesn't personally hurt any of us. We're saying this as watching these guys who were great players. Yes. And we're not the only ones saying it. You know what I mean? There's plenty of people who, if they ever watch Willie Anderson, if they ever watch Ken Anderson play football in person, know that these are Hall of Fame players. Like, we're not just making this shit up out of our ass. Like, we're providing context for why they deserve to be in. But if you ever watch them play and you are a fan of this team, it's a disgrace that they're not in.
Exactly.
And we have to say it because a lot of the people on the national level aren't saying it.
No.
And don't
they never will.
They won't say it.
No.
And the crazy thing, I just thought of this while you're talking about this, Dale. Joe Jamar and T are some of the most popular players in the NFL. What if, like, when the Bengals win a Super Bowl or two, I'm still speaking that to existence, that's going to elevate, because people put it on, the chat here, they look at Cincinnati as a stepping stone market, blah, 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 which they do. But when we actually get up there, because, I mean, when there's 2 years we went to the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, they were talking about Cincinnati a lot in a respectful manner, more than they ever had before. Now it's kind of went back to the way it was. But if we can get back to that, how much does that improve? Like, we do get a Super Bowl or two, how much does that improve the guys to get into the Hall of Fame? Not Joe Jamar and T. I think they win a Super Bowl, they're definitely in. But Ken Anderson, Willie Anderson, Geno Atkins, Corey Dillon, guys like that, how much does that?
Well, I mean, help? if Willie and Corey got to a Super Bowl, and that's the difference.
Corey won it.
Like, with the Patriots, but
he
still has that Bengals stain on him, I guess. But
I guess I'm just wondering when the Bengals do win a Super Bowl, does that change the narrative of how they look at this organization? Which I'm with you. I think it should.
It should. And I think T obviously has a much harder argument for Hall of Fame stuff than
and
Jamar. But
right now.
That and just I think the star power goes a little bit more to Chase than Higgins. But if there is some sort of, if this does come to fruition where they win a couple of Super Bowls, they're in the playoffs perennially, that sort of thing, you could look at, and those guys make big plays in those big games. Right. Mm-hmm. You could look at a situation like the Steelers in the 70s where you have a Swan and Stallworth both go in to the Hall of Fame, even though statistically you go, granted the 70s, not the biggest passing era, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Statistically, they don't stack up, but they made huge plays in those big games. That's where you can kind of make an argument potentially for both of those guys. But yeah, I mean, winning never hurts anything.
No, winning cures everything.
Yeah.
It cures everything. And hopefully the Bengals will do some winning. I'll have a winning offseason, kind of like the Cincinnati Reds here did this year. That's like basically what the Reds did. I keep tying into this. The Reds, when they signed Geno Suarez, made the Reds a competitive ball club. And if they stay healthy, they're going to be competitive all year. That's all I want for the Bengals. If the Bengals can get this defense back to where it was when we went to the Super Bowl, which I don't think that's that big of a jump. I think they can do that. I think we're going to be compete for this stuff, but we'll see what happens. Guys, as always, this has been fun. I really enjoy these Who Dey Friday shows. Now, I'll just ask you guys this on the show. This is, Super Bowl weekend here. Who do you have?
Seahawks.
You got a prediction? You got
Seahawks. Seahawks, because I just want the Seahawks to win. Fuck the Patriots. Seahawks.
AC? You got
Seahawks. I think it's closer than the line would show right now. But it's going to come down to the quarterback play, obviously, for both teams. I would like to see Darnold. I know he's a USC guy, and I'm a homer for that, but I would like to see him, complete the season and have a real nice redemption story. I think that'd be really cool based on how his career's gone. So yeah,
it would be awesome. All right, boys. Well, this is technically the last show for football season, so hopefully you guys can keep doing this during the summer. Or, I might have to talk some baseball.
Summer? Jesus Christ, I'd take spring.
Skipping spring?
I'm just skipping spring, yeah. During baseball season, I talk baseball. I thought it was going to be, summertime. But anyway, hopefully we guys can keep this going. But I appreciate you guys coming on all football season long. Like I said, I'm not saying this is the end. If you guys keep doing it, I am all for it. But do me a favor, plug some stuff before I let you go there. AC, you can go first.
Cincy Jungle, Orange and Black Insider. We had a fun interview about a week and a half or so ago with T. Higgins and Chase Brown. So go check that out. That's on all of our platforms. And you guys are the best. Love you guys. Appreciate it. I got to go get my kid from school. And take care.
See you, AC.
Love you, bro.
Appreciate you, brother. All right, Dale. Okay, parting words of wisdom for Who Dey Nation and.
No, but I want to tease.
Tease
that there may be a couple guys live streaming on day 2 of the draft together at a live event.
Really? Who might that be?
Are you backing out? Are you backing out?
No, I'm not backing out. Right. I was trying to build up the drama, Dale. You just ruined it.
I know. I did it on purpose.
We will be live streaming day 2 at the Project Game Day. It's going to be at the Fulling Warehouse again, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. That's locked in. Yeah.
That is locked in. Okay. So day 2, we'll be there live streaming. Be me and the boys from Bengals Brews. I think Pork Chop will be there. Greg will be there.
A dunk tank. Tyler Kelly.
Really? A dunk tank? Oh, this is new. I didn't know this.
Yeah. So there's going to be a dunk tank. Got that locked in.
Oh, shout out! I had to get that on the stream.
What is that? A1. See, I'm bad about this. Chop got it all set up, but
did he?
So this is a Steelers fan, Tyler Kelly. Maybe some of you know about Tyler Kelly. He's been on Bengals and Brews and stuff. He has a Cincy hat tramp stamp.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but we're gonna
got it. Crazy.
We're gonna put him in a dunk tank and throw balls at it for charity. So
throw stuff at him. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a great time. Well, let's talk about this. Where can everybody get tickets at? And are they tickets on sale now, or
they are not yet, but they will be very, very soon. Just trying to lock down final details about if there's maybe a extra beer ticket, but they're going to be, I think, $35 for entry to the Fulling Warehouse, so you can do the fulling. There'll be food. You'll have to buy your own drinks, except if we get a drink ticket, you'll at least get a drink, maybe a pop. Maybe a soda.
What's soda? I don't do soda. I do pop.
Yeah,
Soda.
I'm also
Soda. Soda. That sounds so weird. I make fun of my wife. I was like, no. I see you moved to Cincinnati. We would call it pop.
But there'll be we're trying to figure those details out. Or drink ticket, if you drink beer.
Either way, it's gonna be an awesome time, and hopefully we will be enjoying what and who the Bengals draft. Or they trade all those picks and they get
Max Crosby
and Jeffrey Simmons, and we just drink and have a good time, watch the draft.
And we just have like a cutout of Max Crosby and be like, that's our second round.
Exactly. There you go. All right, brother. I appreciate you. I'll hopefully see you next Friday.
All right. Love you, bro.
Love you too. Who Dey? All right, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Go check out AC. Go check out Dale Altman, Bengals Brews. Go donate to Project Game Day. Dale Altman's draft guide. Trust me, it's a great read. He updates it all the time. He's got all kinds of stuff on there. I have no idea how he keeps up with all of it, but he does an awesome job. AC always does a great job. Check out their interview with T and Chase Brown. And, yeah.
All right, shout out to my sponsors. They are Priority Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need your grass cut, you need shrubbery trimmed, I don't know, you need a paper patio, you need anything. I mean anything. Landscaping required. Think Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Also, shout out to T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And of course, Meyer Window, Door, and More. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great looking windows, easy to clean. Meyer Window, Door, and More. The website is MeyerCincinnati.com. And also shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. Get on down there, get you some delicious Moorline beer, some delicious Moorline food. And tell them I sent you. Moorline Lager House.
Again, as always, I thank all my sponsors. But like I said right now, if you guys are looking for some snow removal, some salting, anything like that, give Priority Lawn and Landscaping a call. You can find them on Facebook. Just look up Priority Lawn and Landscaping. But as always, thanks for watching. I've been live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, and Instagram. You can follow me on all those along with Threads and TikTok. And check out my Substack. I'm writing some articles on there. It's Sports Strawberry Ice Substack. I appreciate you guys. Super Bowl prediction. To me, I'm going Seattle. And I'm going 27-21. I think it's going to be I'm not going to say a high-scoring game. Because it depends on how it's going to be a quarterback. Whichever quarterback plays the best is going to win. The Patriots quarterback, which I hate when I do this guy, I can't remember his name right now. This happens when you get old. Has not looked good at all in the playoffs. Now maybe he turns it around. I mean, he's had an MVP type year. Regular season playoffs haven't been so good. Sam Darnold has done pretty good. Seattle's front four is amazing. I really like their front four. But I wouldn't be surprised if New England pulls it off either. But I really do think Seattle has got it. I think they've got the better offense. I think Sam Darnold is on a heater, and they got more playmakers. That's the thing too. Deion Sanders said this earlier today. It comes down to the quarterback play. If they're both even, it comes down to the playmakers. I'll take Jackson Smith and Jigba over Stephon Diggs. So give me Seattle 27-21. As always, remember one thing and one thing only. That is Who Dey for life. And everybody throw it up. That's just sports, baby. See ya!
Another great show. You guys still here? The show's over. You can come back tomorrow. I'm out of here. See ya.